right now, I am pleased to welcome a woman who's making such a difference, and it's information on a new documentary that highlights hundreds of bands from around the world who play tribute to the Beatles. Joining us to talk about it all, it is called Come Together, and it is the documentary's narrator, John Lennon's sister, Julia Baird. She's also the author of The Private Life of John Lennon, a.k.a. Imagine This. Welcome, Julia.
Oh, hello.
I'm so glad to have you on.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Let's talk about the film first, because it kind of turned out to be a wonderful way for you to let people know more about John and his pals, but also the hundreds of bands around the country that come to Liverpool to celebrate.
It's a completely novel idea in that Steve and his friend John, Steve Eisen and John Schofield, have come together themselves to make this film of Liverpool Beatle Week, which takes place at the end of August. Liverpool is just absolutely humming and throbbing and thriving with Beatles music. So this was an idea that you'd think had been done before, but it hasn't. It's showing Liverpool in its very, very best light. It's a thing to be proud of, it really is. My bit in the film, I was introduced by a third-party friend of ours, and they just said, would I be a narrator? And that's all I am in it.
Once again, the producer-director was Steve Eisen, and our producer-director also was John Schofield, and it was their idea.
Yes.
It was brought together. Devolver Digital from Austin, Texas, is the one who actually put all of it together, and it's a wonderful documentary. I was just amazed at. They said it was a total of 8,000 bands.
I know, and I didn't
just
realize.
Was blown away by that.
They've picked out to talk to Pepperland from Sweden and Jay Gepner, who specialises in every John song that there is. The Fab Four, where the one who plays George is actually from Liverpool, but he has an American girlfriend and now lives in the States. The rest are American. And just bands from all over. And one of the funniest ones, not funny in music, they're great, is a band called the Aspreys. They're Japanese and they don't speak English.
But they know every single word to the song.
And it gave you a shot over their shoulder, the sheet that they have in front of them, the playlist. And it's all in Japanese. And yet they're singing it in English.
It's such an homage to a band that really helped change the way our music was back in the 60s. When I look at the bands and their tributes, and they even have an Ed Sullivan look-alike.
Don't they?
Yes.
That's right, yeah.
You knew John when nobody else knew John, and watched this amazing career come about. And for you, like you say, he was still just your big brother.
He's 6.5 years older than I am, and I have a younger sister too, Jackie, and there's 9 years between John and Jackie. And we were very much together in our childhood. I don't remember a time without John. He babysat for us.
But it's his creative juices were going the whole time, weren't they?
Absolutely. My mother was very creative. She painted and sang, and she was a woman sort of out of her time, pretty much as John was. But John and my mother were really, really close, and of course it rocked us all forever when she died. One of the first practice places before Paul came on the scene was in our house, and that was with the Quarrymen. Rod came with his banjo, and my mother played our grandfather's banjo, and they would play in our kitchen, and John and Paul would play in the bathroom because it was tiled and small and it echoed. And I remember them standing with their feet on the bath playing their two guitars. They played at Paul's house and they played in Mimi's porch, but the whole band could get into our kitchen. And that's where they did the practicing, with my mother very much joining in. We certainly didn't think it was going in anywhere. This is why Mimi had that famous quote, the guitar's all very well, John, but you'll never make a living out of it. John always said he would never, are you going to write your autobiography? And he said, no, I'd never do anything like that, sort of dismissing it. I would never write. And I thought, John, you're writing it in all your songs. If you go through the songs, he was writing his life story. If you come to Liverpool, come to Beatle Week, watch the documentary, come and join in all that great fun. It's just a week where you laugh from beginning to end.